not just your story. We all love a good story though, right? I mean, who doesn't like a good story? They come in movies, they come in books, and when you read a book, you read a good story, it comes with chapters. And inside each chapter, you have memorable moments. And the thing about a story and a book, you don't really remember the whole entire book, right? You don't even remember a whole chapter, you just remember moments of each chapter in the story. And come to think about it, that is one of my beliefs. I believe that we are all main characters in our own individual stories and the movie of our life. Well, when we look at reality, if I'm the main character of my story and you're the main character of your story, then that makes us all also supporting characters in each other's story. And so I would like to talk about some supporting roles of the story of my life. Now here's a picture of me and my two sisters. If you look at us there, we all had a very, very similar person that had a profound impact on our life, our mother. And this moment that sticks out in my memory is one in autumn, when the leaves are falling off the trees, and my mom would have us fill up our red wagon full of old brown leaves, and it would crinkle as we get inside. And then she'd pull us to racks where we would get our Uncle Alligator Happy Meals. And this was so exciting for me because we would never get a chance to get a Happy Meal, let alone go inside of a restaurant. I mean, it was amazing. And I didn't really understand why it was so important to me until later in life. And now I understand that this memorable moment that I had is so important because of its meaning. That meaning is that I don't have to have money to create these really, really lifelong memories. Going forward into the next chapter of my life, football. So when we were in sports, I was a late bloomer as it shows here, and here I'm a senior and playing up to it. Okay. And so if you look here, I was pretty good. I am tooting my horn, I was pretty good. Well, I had good coaches though too. The thing about the coaches, I remember some of them, but I really remember one of them. And his name was Coach Albertini. He had a profound impact on me because he had a very, very conflicting message at the end of my high school career. He came up to me and said, "Eric, I don't know how to tell you this, but I think you should know, because one of the coaches, I'm not telling you which coach said this, but he said this is the end of this is going to be the highlight of your life, and that you're just going to go off the deep end." And I stuck up for you and I said, "You don't know that, but I think that you have more potential than that." And it really hit me, because I wanted to know what coach said that, but at the same time, Coach Albertini stuck up for me. And now looking back, and even then, I might have realized just a little bit that everyone has their own individual perceptions of who we are, but the only one that really matters is the one that we perceive inside ourselves. Mm-hmm. That's funny though, because they were both right. See, moving on to the next chapter of my life, I entered into drugs pretty bad, and this is a picture of where I lived. This bush right here, I lived inside that bush, and I pitched a tent in that bush. This is the short north of Columbus, and it's 3rd Avenue. Now across that brick road there, this is the bush there. Across that brick road there was a couple ladies who showed no judgment. They offered only compassion, and they kind of approached these two homeless children as with curiosity in their eyes. And they just talked to us. They brought me food, and they asked me if I needed anything. At one point I said I needed a shower, and they're like, "Is that it?" And they asked if I wanted a place to live. I said, "No, I'm fine here." And they said, "Well, if you get kicked out of that tent, if you get kicked out of the bush, you just come knock on our door." I said, "All right." And it was only a couple days later that I got evicted from my bush. Eviction notice served by the Columbus City Police Department. And so I knocked on their door, and they brought me in. They clothed us. They fed us. And honestly, I was honest with them. I told them I was a drug addict and I lost my house because of bad decisions and this and that, but they still took me in. They had every reason not to bring me in, but the only thing that they listened to is their intuition. They listened to their heart. And they got me not only a place to live and food and clothes, but they got me a job. And when I got that job, I overdosed on bath salts. They picked me up from the hospital, brought me there, and they just talked to me. They talked to me. And then after that, they got me a place to live. They literally gave me a second chance at life. And all rational thought would say, don't even talk to these kids out there. They're in that because of their own decision. I learned a really valuable lesson from them. I learned what love is. Unconditional love, you can have it to anybody. Moving on to the next chapter of my life. So we got these big quantities of time. My mom, my coach, a couple months with these ladies. Now, here is, I don't even remember the guy's face. I don't remember the guy's name. But I remember the conversation so clear. This is in Florida. This little store here is Art's Food Store. It's a little convenience store, right? And it's on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, okay? I'm out there talking to this guy, and he says, I'm talking about my son, and I'm just talking with enthusiasm. I do that, right? And he says, well, I can see you love your son. You love your son, right? I was like, yeah. He said, you would die for your son, right? I said, heck yeah, I'd die for my son. And he looked at me with loving eyes, and he says, have you ever thought about living for him? Like a slap in the face. I couldn't even be mad at him because there was only love coming out of this guy's eyes. And then it really fed me forward into the next stage of my life, in the next chapter. Because I recovered. And this is a picture of me and my son. And I'm giving a speech in Lancaster where I grew up. My son's on my shoulder. We're doing a family vacation there. And I really started to move on to the really next phase of my life where it wasn't just my story anymore, right? Because I was living for other people, my son in particular. And today, I have all kinds of people in my life that I'm sharing a story with. I am my own main character, but I'm also privileged to be the supporting character in your story right now, or yours, right? That's amazing. If someone came up to me and said, hey, I got a role for you to be in my movie, I'm going to be excited, right? That's amazing. You know that last guy I showed you about? I want to talk to him for about 5 minutes. And that impact that he left on my life, that meaning he left, was that it doesn't take time, right? You don't have to have quantity time, you just have to have quality. It can be as like a laser focus on that. I also learned that memorable moments aren't created by money, they are created by meaning. And so I would like everyone in here today to think about the meaning that they bring into other people's lives. This is so important. Even the person at the gas station. What opportunity do you have right now to just share just something with them? Share your stories and be proud not only of your own movie and your own role, but your role in other people's movies.